Imagine standing on the cliffs of Dover, gazing out at a horizon filled with the sails of the largest fleet ever assembled. The year is 1588, and the Spanish Armada, an invincible force of 130 ships, has arrived to overthrow Queen Elizabeth I and return England to Catholic rule. But what was supposed to be Spain's greatest triumph turned into one of history's most famous defeats. Join us as we uncover the epic tale of ambition, strategy, and nature's fury that led to the downfall of the Spanish Armada. The following images in this video have been altered and generated using AI technology. They are not exact replicas of historical events or people, but are used to provide a visual representation of what the events may have looked like. These images are intended solely for illustrative purposes, to help bring the story to life. The origins of the Spanish Armada lie in the grand ambitions of King Philip II of Spain. By the late 16th century, Spain was the most powerful empire in the world, with vast territories across the Americas, Europe, and Asia. However, Philip was deeply concerned about the rise of Protestantism in Europe, particularly in England. Queen Elizabeth I's support for Protestant rebels in the Spanish-controlled Netherlands, and the constant harassment of Spanish ships by English privateers like Sir Francis Drake, further inflamed tensions between the two nations. Philip, a devout Catholic, believed it was his divine duty to bring England back into the Catholic fold. He envisioned a grand invasion that would crush English resistance and install a Catholic monarch on the English throne. This invasion would be led by the Spanish Armada, a fleet so massive that it was believed to be invincible. Over the course of several years, Philip poured immense resources into building and preparing this fleet, which would eventually number 130 ships carrying around 30,000 men. However, the grandiosity of the plan also revealed its weaknesses. The Armada was a logistical nightmare, requiring precise coordination with the Duke of Parma's forces in the Netherlands. Additionally, the Spanish underestimated the resilience of the English and the unpredictable nature of the English Channel. As the Armada set sail in May 1588, the stage was set for one of history's most dramatic naval confrontations. As the Armada approached, England was not caught off guard. Queen Elizabeth I and her advisors had been preparing for this moment, understanding the threat posed by the Spanish fleet. The English navy, though smaller and less heavily armed than the Spanish, had several key advantages: speed, maneuverability, and intimate knowledge of the home waters. Under the command of Lord Howard of Effingham and Sir Francis Drake, the English fleet employed hit-and-run tactics to harass the Armada. The English ships, being faster and more agile, avoided direct combat and instead focused on disrupting the Spanish formation. This strategy paid off during the early skirmishes off the coast of Plymouth and the Isle of Wight, where the English managed to damage several Spanish ships without sustaining significant losses. One of the most daring moments came when Drake led a night attack on the Spanish fleet, using fire ships to create chaos among the tightly packed Spanish vessels. This unexpected assault forced the Spanish to cut their anchors and scatter, disrupting their formation and leaving them vulnerable to further English attacks. The early skirmishes demonstrated the effectiveness of the English strategy and set the stage for the decisive battle that would soon follow. The climactic battle of the campaign occurred near Gravelines, a port in the Spanish Netherlands, on July 29, 1588. By this point, the Spanish Armada had been harried and weakened by English attacks, but it remained a formidable force. The English fleet, knowing that this was their best opportunity to deal a decisive blow, launched an all-out assault. The battle was intense, with both sides exchanging heavy cannon fire. However, the English had several key advantages. Their ships were more maneuverable, allowing them to avoid the Spanish galleons' heavy broadsides while delivering their own devastating volleys. Additionally, the Spanish were hampered by their reliance on outdated tactics, which emphasized boarding enemy ships for close combat. The English, by contrast, preferred to engage at range, using their superior firepower to inflict maximum damage from a distance. The turning point came when the English managed to set several Spanish ships ablaze, forcing the Armada to break formation. With their fleet in disarray and unable to regroup, the Spanish were left vulnerable to further English attacks. The Battle of Gravelines was a decisive victory for England, effectively ending the Spanish threat. However, the Armada's ordeal was far from over. As they attempted to retreat northward, they encountered a new and even more formidable enemy: the weather. After the disastrous defeat at Gravelines, the Spanish Armada was forced to abandon its invasion plans and retreat northward, around the coast of Scotland and Ireland, in a desperate attempt to return to Spain. But as the Armada sailed into the treacherous waters of the North Atlantic, it was met with a series of fierce storms. The weather, which had always been an unpredictable factor in the campaign, now turned decisively against the Spanish. The storms scattered the fleet, driving ships onto rocky shores and sinking many of them in the tumultuous seas. Thousands of Spanish sailors and soldiers perished, and many ships were lost. By the time the remnants of the fleet finally limped back to Spain, only about half of the original ships had survived. The retreat of the Spanish Armada was a disaster of epic proportions. What was intended to be a grand conquest ended in catastrophe, with Spain losing not only a significant portion of its navy, but also its reputation as the dominant naval power in Europe. The failure of the Armada marked the beginning of a slow decline in Spanish influence and the rise of England as a major global power. The defeat of the Spanish Armada had far-reaching consequences that shaped the future of Europe. For Spain, the loss was a significant blow to its prestige and marked the beginning of its decline as a global superpower. The myth of the invincible Armada was shattered, and other European nations were emboldened to challenge Spanish dominance. For England, the victory was a moment of national pride and a turning point in its history. Queen Elizabeth I's leadership during the crisis solidified her legacy as one of England's greatest monarchs. The defeat of the Armada also marked the beginning of England's rise as a major naval and colonial power, setting the stage for the establishment of the British Empire in the centuries to come. The story of the Spanish Armada is a reminder of the unpredictable nature of history. Even the most carefully laid plans can be undone by unforeseen circumstances, and the tides of fortune can change in an instant. The Armada's defeat is a testament to the resilience of the English people, the strategic brilliance of their leaders, and the enduring power of nature. The tale of the Spanish Armada is one of ambition, strategy, and the unpredictable forces that shape history. From the grand ambitions of King Philip II to the fierce battles in the English Channel and the devastating storms that sealed the Armada's fate, this story has captivated historians and audiences alike for centuries. You enjoyed this deep dive into one of history's most dramatic naval campaigns. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more fascinating stories from the past. Until next time, remember that history is full of lessons that continue to resonate in our world today.